Hey there everyone, this is Joe in general, your resident reason and evidence enthusiast. It's Thursday the 17th of August 2017 and as promised, it's another mega mini crypto analysis. Today we are taking a look at AdEx, Siacoin, Digibyte, right there, and finally Reddcoin. I have talked about all these coins before, but I haven't done a mega mini analysis for a little while, so I want to do a quick recap on these ones in particular. Now, of course, if you want to skip ahead to your favorite coin, I will put a link to the time codes in the info section of the YouTube page and as part of the pinned comment. Now, I need to mention a few things before we move on, but you can, of course, just skip ahead of this using the time codes. So, very quickly, as always, a shout out to my new subscribers, a total of 4,617 as of right now. And thanks to all the newbies that have come on board since doing my last video about 5 days ago. Speaking of, that video, if you haven't checked it out yet, was on an upcoming ICO, an initial coin offering. I was promising you guys that I would do an in-depth video on an ICO that I'm considering investing in, and I happened to do that 5 days ago, and it's Swarm Fund. So go and check out that video for sure. It's about an hour 10 long, so it's a bit of an investment, bit of a time investment, but I think it's well worth it because you need to be informed, right? But there's plenty of time to check out the video. You can watch it in parts. There are links to the time codes. You don't have to watch it all in one go. And the ICO doesn't start until September 7th, so plenty of time to check that out. Next up, I am a little late to the party in doing my weekly Bitcoin price analysis. Normally happens usually every Wednesday or Thursday, but that hasn't happened yet. That will happen tomorrow, I'd say within the next 12 to 18 hours roughly from uploading this particular video, the one I'm doing today. And finally, I will be doing very soon a video all about the Populus Alpha release. Populus is an ICO that I got into over a month ago now, and I've done a couple of videos on Populus. Check those out. Maybe this one here, that one here, this one here. And they are about to release their alpha, meaning the alpha website. So for some of us lucky people, to be a part of, and we can go in and check it out and make notes and try and find the bugs and the kinks and all that stuff. So that's coming up very soon. What I'm planning on doing, if it works out, I'm going to do a screen capture of my very first login and experience with the alpha, with Populus. Again, if you're not familiar with Populus, it's all about invoice finance. Just go ahead and watch a couple of these videos. Probably the best one would be this one here, Populus, Why I'm Not Selling and Why You Should Buy. Non-financial advice, of course. So that's all of that I needed to mention. So let's get right on to the mega mini analysis. All right, first up we have AdEx. This is one that hasn't been around that long, but it is a decentralized ad exchange. And I recently participated in its ICO, its initial coin offering. I learned about it through the Cliff High Webbot reports. As I mentioned before, I've recently been buying those reports as I'm a reason and evidence enthusiast. I wanted to try them out for myself and gather some data. So I'm still doing that, and this happened to be one that I did put a small investment into, and we have seen in the last week or so some lovely price gains. We have topped out at a price of 0.00655 roughly, and to give you an indication, let's of the increase, let's go back to a little further to see where it came from. Let me just put this on the logarithmic timescale, logarithmic chart for the moment. Now, to give you an indication, the ICO buy-in price compared to Ether, so the amount of Ether per one AdEx token was 0.00085, roughly, around about there. 0.00085 was the rough calculation. So that's hovering at around about here, right there, 0.00085 roughly. So this is the Bittrex exchange. It was originally only trading on the Ether Delta website, but on the 11th of July, it did move over to Bittrex, and you know what you see is usually that sharp run up when something gets launched on, you know, a new exchange, and then an eventual, very eventual and quick sell off. You know, people taking profits here. So it did go above its ICO buy-in price, but then quickly it dipped down, and then actually for quite a while it's been in this little funk under the ICO price. And, you know, a bunch of us in the little community that I'm in, you know, the Slack channels, I hang around a lot on the Populous Slack channel, and we talk about other things other than Populous. So we talk about AdEx and all the other sort of, you know, all the other tokens and ICOs. And people were, you know, feeling a bit despondent. Oh, it didn't go to, you know, great heights. It's had a sell-off. It's still under its ICO price. And I felt that way a little bit too. But, you know, I had a good feeling that, you know, eventually, you know, some good news would occur. And it's a brand new company. So, you know, they've got to get their shit together. And then, you know, things start happening. So, you know, it took a little while, but as I said, it was around about here, the 10th of August it was roughly, and there was some good news that came out, a couple of, you know, good bits of news to do with AdEx, and that's why you've seen these large price rises. So the percentage increase, if you bought in, if you were one of those lucky ones that bought in at the 0.00085 buy-in price, and you've seen it rise all the way up to that 0.0065, well, that happens to be a 666% increase from the buy-in price here of 0.00852 to 0.00085 to 0.00655. So congratulations to all those who have hodled, who have held on for dear life. Hopefully also you've been playing the sell and buyback game. Maybe some of you, you know, sold out here because it was looking a little overbought. And then, you know, you saw, you know, very likely like maybe a 50% retracement happens to happen that way quite a lot. And so hopefully some of you bought back here. But let me just pop this again back onto the linear. Now this top out here of 0.0065 happens to be very, very close to the 1.618 exponential Fibonacci high or calculation from this high here of 0.0033 and this low here of 0.00111. So when you do the exponential Fibonacci calculation of that high and that low, you get the 1.618 right here. As you can see, it was exactly 0.00659. Well, you can call 0.00655 an almost exact hit. So that would indicate to me, and as you can tell just by looking at this chart, it's looking quite overbought at this stage. Now let's quickly pop into the 1 hour to see, you know, the more minute transactions. As you can see here, that's that initial run up to the 0.0033 mark, and you know, a nice little, you know, a little bit over 50% retracement, I think it was. I'll put this back on the logarithmic. That's a good idea. And then that other bit of news that busted back up to that old high here. Again, a little bit of retracement, and then to that 0.065. And since then, let me put that maybe onto the, do the half an hour. We did see a retracement so far back down to a low of, where are we, of about 0.0044. So the question is that a large enough of a retracement? Now again, this is on the 30-minute time frame. If we go back to the 1-day time frame, if you look at it on that time scale, it would seem to be that it may be due for a slightly larger correction. If it is going to have a slightly larger correction, I think it's more likely than not, but obviously don't take anything I say as financial advice, but more likely than not, I think it will. And if it does, it will quite likely come back to test this old resistance level here of that 0.0033. You could call it roughly, you know, 0.0033 to 0.0035. It may come down to there. But if it doesn't, where could it go from here? If we're just basing it again on the exponential Fibonacci calculation of this high and this low, the next major Fibonacci point is the 2.618% percentile level, and that's at 0.0198, or I guess you could comfortably call that 0.02. So I think that could be the next major level after breaking through and eventually breaking through this high. So what you could potentially see is a retracement back down to roughly this level. That's kind of roughly a 50% retracement. And then, you know, trade in, you know, in a trading range up and down, and then eventually breaking through this old high. And then the next major test could be, of course, not financial advice, but could be the 0.02 level, but also take into account, of course, the psychological values of like 0.01. So that could be a mini resistance, and then maybe a large resistance point is that 0.02 mark. How far off that is down the track, I really don't know, but at this stage it does look a little overbought right now. So I'm expecting a retracement, but again, that is just what I'm expecting, not financial advice. All right, let's move on to Siacoin, my old mate Siacoin. It's been a while. It's been between 2 to 3 months since I've done a video on Siacoin. Yes, it's around there somewhere. It's been a while, so we have seen some interesting price developments, both to the upside and to the downside. So we did see a rise all the way up, and this is against Bitcoin rather than Ethereum, all the way up to a high of 838. And since then, like a lot of the cryptos, a lot of the older cryptos we've seen over the last couple of months, in this last month in particular, some doldrums in the altcoins, and Siacoin has been one that it has been hit. So we've seen a retracement all the way back down to one of its previous breakout points, this key breakout point right here. And that was at a low of 141, and we have come all the way back down to slightly below that at 138. So the question is this the low? Is the low in? It seems more likely than not. You know, you wouldn't say the low was in when it was here. You could have potentially said there because of that matching price right there of around about 258, and that was that old high back here, an old high back here. But more likely than not, it does seem to be a low point. Could go a little bit lower, maybe down to, if you guys, I know you guys, some of you watching this on your cell phones, on your mobile phones, this low here could come down to, well, that psychological value of 100. So 100 could be the lowest of the low. I don't see it going any lower than 100, but potentially right here, 138 could be the low, which again is matching that old breakout point right here. But it could dip down to this point here of 100, the psychological value. Now, a lot of people were concerned about the Siacoin price. So what actually Siacoin did was it a couple of days ago, is they actually brought out this little May-August 2017 update, and I'll put a link to that in the info section and as the pinned comment. And very quickly, I won't go through all of it, but there was a couple of key points. So what they said was, we want to reassure the community that, contrary to some recent speculation, we very much care about the price of Siacoin. We know that a higher coin price means more credibility for the project and a more excited, engaged community. That is correct. And they also said, Where are we? Right here. The Siacoin price is very important to us as a company. We do not spend our efforts trying to pump the coin price with paid advertising, exaggerated claims, or impossible forward-looking statements. Instead, we spend the vast majority of our efforts on software development, building our decentralized cloud storage network. This will naturally increase the coin's value in a far more sustainable way. So they're just, popped out a little update there to try and counteract some of the FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt that may have been occurring during this very large retracement from that high to this potential low right there. And if you check out the rest of this little article right here, again, I'll put a link to it. They talk about what they've been doing since. They talk about development, talking about, I guess, adding people to the team as well, and, the features that they're, adding to Siacoin. So do check out that. I think Siacoin is still here to stay, personally. I don't think it's going to be one of the ones that necessarily dies out for good. Again, I could be wrong on that, so that is just my position on that. Of course, it's not financial advice, but once again, and this is going to be a very quick one on Siacoin, once again, potential low point right here from that breakup point, but you've got that psychological value of 100, but do check out this article, because I do think in the future, Siacoin will eventually, when that is, I don't know, but we'll eventually see higher prices again. Blue sky thinking, let's do some quick, where could it go if it breaks through this high of 838? Well, let's just presume for now that this low here of 138 is the low, and we'll take the high here of 838, obviously, and you pop that into the exponential Fibonacci calculator, and you get a few key points. So the first key point, you'd be looking at the psychological barrier, definitely the psychological barrier of 1,000. That'll be a key point for sure. But moving up from there, the 1.236 of 12,083, the 1.382 of 1669, the 1.5 of 2,000. You can have a 2,000 psychological barrier. And finally, the big one, which is the 1.618. And again, this is real blue sky thinking, guys. But the 1.618 is 2,555, again, based on this high of 838 and this potential low of 138. That's it for Siacoin. Let's move straight on to Digibyte. This has been on Cliff High's Webbot reports a couple of times. He has mentioned it as one to acquire and hold for longer term growth. But since early June, since we had this rise up to a high of, what was it, 2695, and that's against Bitcoin, so quadruple 2695, but I won't talk about the zeros. 2695, we have had a steady decline for now, bottoming out so far at a low of 251. So a high of 2695, a low of 251. Question is that it? If it's not it, where are we going back down to? And the most likely scenario is coming back to either test this old high here back in late March, and that's of around about 180, or this little area right here to test of about 150. So if we're retracing down from here, 180 to 150, or could this be the low? You might notice right here that this low right here of about 250 does happen to match exactly, if we move that all the way to the left, and I almost got it, this little retracement here from this breakout point of what, the low of about 114. It rose all the way up to a high of 463 and had an almost 50% retracement level. Yes, we're on logarithmic, almost 50%. Level down to, again, about 250. So that is matching that previous retracement level right there. could potentially be the low, but as I said, 180 or 150 could be the next most likely scenarios down. And of course, you've got these resistance levels on the way up, particularly this big one right here. That's going to be at about 850. Now, another bit of blue sky thinking later on down the track, if we're basing it on, if this is the low, as I talked about with Siacoin, if this one here is the low of 250 and that high of 2695, exponential Fibonacci calculation would happen to suggest, and these are very blue sky thinking numbers, and because there's such a large difference in the price between the high of 2695, such a large spread between the high and the low, well, the Fibonacci levels above this level here are going to be quite high. They're going to be quite spread out, right? But you've got the 1.236 of 4,719, and the next one of 1.302 at 6,674. In between there, there's obviously going to be the psychological value of 5,000, but real blue sky thinking, let's go straight to the 1.618 of 11,685. So again, blue sky stuff. That is if the price does have a nice decent rise and breaking through 2695, and the 1.618 level is would be I think a long ways off, but that could be a significant point where you would see a major retracement. It doesn't happen always, as I've said in previous videos, but I wouldn't say 50-50, but a lot of the time, a price once breaking a key high, say 2695 here, it does tend to visit the 1.618 Fibonacci level eventually, and a lot of the time, again, not always, but a lot of the time, it tends to be a point of major resistance. So that's again at 11,685. You could comfortably call that, anywhere between 11,500 to 12,000. But again, that's very blue sky thinking. But at the moment, unfortunately, we're in this little doldrums of Digibyte, the Digibyte doldrums. But according to Cliff High, it is an acquire to hold for longer term growth. That is it for Digibyte short and sharp. And finally, we move on to Reddcoin, my old friend Reddcoin. We've seen some good times, we've seen some bad times. Actually, I've seen some really good times. If you remember my interesting story about Reddcoin in one of my previous Reddcoin videos, just check it out in my catalog. But here we are right now. We have, when I was talking about Reddcoin last, which was a while ago, we were hovering around about 60 something. I think it was about 66 roughly. And we were talking about, if we broke it down further, you'd likely, this could be a point of support here at around about 42 roughly. And that certainly was the case for a little bit where we did break down. And I did suggest that this level right here of between about 26, 27 could be a point, and breaking down from there, this little area right here between there to there. And we've certainly seen that. We've broken down to 17, which does match up with this little area right here. Is this the low? Could quite possibly be, particularly seeing as though we've seen this nice little rise back up just recently from 17 all the way back up to 42, which is that now a resistance level, previous support, but now resistance right there. And it does happen too when it came up to 42. Oh, that's the one I prepared earlier. Let me get rid of that and draw it again. A little bit better. So this is the high here of 139 is where we topped out at. But if you draw a line through there, you'll see a nice little, I don't like to see a downtrend line, but it's a nice looking downtrend line nonetheless, going through 3 points right there, 139, around about 80, and that 42 level, which happens to match up with that right there. So it came all the way back up to meet the line here, the downtrend line. And the question is, of course, is this the end of the retracement? And breaking down from here, if that's not the end, breaking down from here, you've got this level here of about 11, around about there, and breaking down from here, next key level would be in between sort of about 7 to 3 roughly in this area. Right about here, but I think kind of closer to that 7 mark would be where it would bottom out at, rather than all the way down to 3. That's just my opinion, of course. Now, as I said, a high of 139, and that was back in, well, that was the start of June, so this one's also been in the doldrums. The thing is with Reddcoin, I did not do my research on the fundamentals. I have not done my research on the fundamentals on Reddcoin, the development team, etc. I just wanted to add this to the mega mini crypto analysis because I've talked about Reddcoin a number of times before. But I just wanted to talk about it in a technical sense rather than a fundamental sense. If any of you and look, straight after making this video, I can just go and do the research myself. But if anyone wants to contribute, post a comment on this video. Do you know something about Reddcoin I don't? What's going on with the team? Is everything good? Are they, still developing, or have they kind of left it in the dust to rot? So that's an important question because that could then tell, that could inform us of where the price may be going in the future. But I just want to look at this just from a technical perspective right now, rather than a fundamental perspective. Again, leave your comments about Reddcoin. Tell me what you think. Always want to know your opinion. But if this is the low here of 17, and if blue sky thinking, if they've got their shit together and things are going to continue eventually, in an upward motion, as it happens quite regularly. We go through, cycles of large up moves and large down moves. If this is the end of the down move, and if we break up through 139 eventually, where could we go to? When's the next major up target? Well, let's take it from a supposed low of 17 and this high of 139, and the major up target, using my exponential Fibonacci calculator, high of 139, low of 17. The 1.618 would be the next major up target, and you'd be looking at 509. Let's just call it the psychological value of 500, and of course the little resistance points in between there, but the big one of 500 roughly. If you want this exponential Fibonacci calculator yourself, I will put a link to that. It's free of charge. You can download it for free, and you just input the high and input the low, and everything else is calculated for you. If you want to send a little Bitcoin my way, I'll put my donation address as well. I won't say no, but of course I wouldn't force you to. So again, up target of 500, breaking down from here. As I said, you've got that level here of about 11, and around about 7 would be the next one. And send me your comments on Reddcoin. Let me know what you think's going on with the Reddcoin team. I'll do my own analysis as well on that, and I may do another video eventually on Reddcoin, but more about the fundamentals, but that remains to be seen. So that is it for the Mega Mini Crypto analysis for now. Thank you for watching. Please do check out the Swarm Fund ICO video. The token sale, as I said, is not until September 7th. Plenty of time to watch the entire thing. The weekly Bitcoin price analysis will come tomorrow, I promise. And of course, you should be hitting that subscribe button right here. If you've been watching my stuff and you haven't subscribed yet, I don't know what's wrong with you. You've got to hit that button right there. Add to my subscriber base, become one of the newbies, and then one of the legacy members down the track once I hit 1 million subscribers. I wish. How cool would that be? But, it seemed to be moving onwards and upwards to that 5K mark. So I might do a tiny little mini, not on-screen victory dance when I hit 5K. So once again, gang, thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, stay informed, speak soon.